Commission, this session is now live. You may proceed.
Okay.
Thank you. We will get our recording devices put together, and then we will call the meeting to order, so it'll be just a moment, and then we will get started. Very good. Thank you. Okay, is everybody ready? And I believe that was Carter saying, good to go. I'd like to call this meeting, the Clay County Commission, to order. We will start with our invocation. Mr. Administrator, when you are prepared, please proceed.
Pray with me. Father, we're grateful for the blessing of friends and grateful for the blessings of family. And we're grateful for the blessings of engaged in citizenry who is interested in the business of this county. And we're so grateful for the opportunity to go about that business. We ask your presence in this meeting this evening. We ask that all in Jesus' blessed name. Amen.
Please stand for the pledge. Thank you. Please call the roll. Here.
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 That brings us to approval of the agenda. Is there a motion related to approval of our agenda this evening?
I make a motion to approve the agenda as printed.
The motion has been made for the approval of our agenda. Are there any additions, deletions, or any other alterations to the agenda as published? Seeing none. Any further discussion on approval of the agenda? Commissioner Carpenter?
No, thank you.
Please, then Commissioner Thompson, you are free to close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Yes.
Yes.
Brings us to our meeting schedule. Mr. Administrator, please proceed.
Commissioners, the next scheduled commission meeting will be a work session which will take place on Thursday, May the 20th, beginning at 10 a.m.
Thank you. Honorary resolutions, we have none listed for this evening's meeting. There are no discussion items. There are likewise no public hearings. We have nothing on our consent agenda for this evening, so we will start with our regular agenda. The first item on our regular agenda is 2021-114. Mr. Administrator, please proceed.
Commissioners, 2021-114 is to approve the payment for a soft match credit with Dade County, Missouri, through a relationship with the Missouri Department of Transportation. I will defer for further comments to Associate Administrator Walters.
Thank you. While we are waiting for the Deputy Administrator to come up to the podium, any citizens who would care to address the Commission can go to the podium at the time we take up that issue. When you do, please make sure that the light is green and that you speak into the microphone. Obviously, it's a little bit more difficult with the masks and all that. And when you do speak, please identify yourself so that we can have you on our audio record for having been the person who had made those comments. With that, Mr. Deputy Administrator, please proceed.
Good evening, Commission. Carl Walters, Deputy County Administrator. As I said at the last meeting, this here is a buy to Dade County, $78,000 to get $156,000 to put in our soft match fund, which soft match fund is used for anything that pertains to bridges or our 20% that we pay towards our bridges on the 80-20 program. As I said before, the BRO is the bridge replacement off system, has nothing to do with MoDOT roads, has to do with county roads. So if we have a deficient bridge, then we go through, have a program with MoDOT. They go through, evaluate it, and then we go from there, and then they, we have monies in our BRO program that we are allotted for those bridges. Yeah, the soft match program is one, as we build a bridge that is not in the BRO program, we can take that soft match, build a bridge. When we get done, they'll replace that with soft match money, put it in our soft match account. So that helps us with our other programs. As we build bridges, it's an 80-20%, that we can take that 20% and apply towards that thing. It doesn't come out of our account.
And if I remember correctly from our last meeting, this really is a win-win for both counties. So it's an arrangement that will benefit Dade County, I believe it was Dade, yes.
Exactly.
And it will most certainly benefit Clay County. So I think this is a good arrangement, and I certainly appreciate your diligence in bringing this before us. Are there any questions for the Deputy Administrator?
No, thank you.
Very well. Is there a motion for the approval of 2021-114?
Commissioner, I move that we approve 2021-114.
Motion has been made. Is there any further discussion? Is there any comment from the public? I see none. Commissioner Thompson, do you have any comment you'd like to make?
I don't, thank you.
Very well. Commissioner Carpenter, I believe that was your motion, so you are free to make any further comment and close.
Thank you. Well, just thanks again to Carl and for last week as well, of course, when we talked about this initially. And look forward to supporting it, and I close.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please call the roll.
Yes.
Yes?
Thank you. The issue passes. By the way, because we do have a number of new guests here tonight, I just want to make something kind of clear. Under our new Constitution, except under particular circumstances, the presiding commissioner does not vote. Chief among those is if there is a tie. So my not voting in this last or any forward motions should not be construed as non-support. It is just the way our Constitution is set up. So I want to make sure everybody was clear on that point before we went any further on the agenda. With that, that brings us to 2021-116. Mr. Administrator.
Commissioners, 2021-116 is to approve an invitation for bid number 33-21 for term and supply contract with the Capital Sand Company Incorporated and the Holiday Sand and Gravel Company for sand for the golf course. Again, Deputy Administrator Walters will make additional comments.
Please proceed.
Again, good evening, Commission. Carl Walters, Deputy County Administrator. This is in the budget line item of the 240, 746, 335, part of the maintenance to the golf course that we do throughout the year. The sand is a part of that, big part of that golf course, because we retine the greens. We have to put fresh sand down into them. Our bunkers have to be maintained. We have a 40-hole golf course with 148 bunkers that we have to maintain. So the sand is a part of that program. As you know, in 2018, we spent $10,400 in 2019, $3,800, and in 2020, we spent $6,700. What we'll spend this year, don't know. Usually what happens is you get some of that black underneath the greens and stuff like that, and it starts to kill away and get the fungus underneath it, so we have to retine it to make sure it keeps it fresh. And then if we go to, a lot of water flooding out our bunkers, we have to refill them. We like to maintain them about 4 inches. It makes it a good place for people to play golf. And, when they hit a bunker, they want to know that they can either lose their ball or get out of the bunker. So it's a maintenance thing that we have to keep up with to make our golf course a nice place to play.
Well, I would certainly like to say that would make a particle of difference in my ability to play golf, but it doesn't. Afraid we have a user problem there. Are there any questions or comments from members of the commission? Any members? Was there a motion related to the approval of 2021-116?
I make the motion to approve 2021-116.
Motion is made for the approval of 2021-116. Discussion. Is there anyone from the public who would care to comment? Seeing none. Commissioner Carpenter, do you have any comments or questions?
Thank you. No, and I, again, appreciate the explanation again last week. Thanks.
Thank you.
Very good. With that, Commissioner Thompson, you are free to make any comment and close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes?
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
That brings us to 2021-120. Mr. Administrator?
Commissioners, 2021-120 is to approve acceptance of additional grant awards under the Emergency Rental Assistance Program, now designated as 2.0. And to make further comments on that is new father, his family is increased by one, Auditor Hurlbert.
Well, we certainly appreciate your attempts to increase the population in Clay County. Keep up the good work. With that, you are recognized to speak on this issue.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. Victor Hurlbert, Clay County Auditor. Resolution 2021-120, I apologize, did not make it to the work session. The reason I requested it to be on the business session tonight is essentially because we had really a surprise announcement from U.S. Treasury. We've been waiting months for release of the guidance and details for funding from the American Rescue Plan Act that was passed earlier this year. And they did so last week, specific to Resolution 2021-120. They made available noticing that those jurisdictions like us, over 200,000 residents, are eligible for this Emergency Rental Assistance Program to receive money directly from the federal government and distribute to eligible participants, those in rental arrears, utility arrears, and under the income guidelines of a needy household for rental assistance. Well, we had the 1.0 program, as you know, from the Consolidated Appropriations Act at the end of last year in 2020. That one's off and running. Happy to ask any questions about that program. The 2.0 program is from the American Rescue Plan Act. The 1.0 program was $3.6 million. This one is $2.8 million for Clay County. And so the reason I wanted to expedite this is because we could receive the funds imminently this week. And just like with 1.0, I referenced Resolution 2021-26 as precedent, where we set up, I bring to the commission, bring up a fund so that we can, in our general ledger, segregate those monies, keep a clear record of the cash and interest for the program. I think it's good precedent with what the county's done. I also think if you look at budget law and 50.550.7 RSMO, that the commission can set up funds. So when we passed the budget for 21, we couldn't envision these programs, and now this has happened, and so I just come to you to set up a new fund. We have Fund 221 for the 1.0 program, and now I'm recommending Fund 222 for the 2.0 program. There are numerous differences between 1.0 and 2.0. It's essentially the same program, but there are some nuances as far as how it will work out. I'm happy to answer any questions. I will come back to you with as far as a plan like we did last time of how we budget as far as the actual program, the administrative costs, the agreements with nonprofit partners, and the plan with that. We're working with our current nonprofit coordinator, United Way, to set that up. But this is just as a first step to be able, once we receive the money in our bank account with the treasurer, to deposit it into a fund, start accruing interest, and have that set up. So that's Resolution 2021-120.
Very well. Thank you very much. Commissioner Carpenter, I believe you had some questions or comments?
Thank you, yeah. Thank you, Mr. Auditor, and to echo Commissioner Nolte's comments, congratulations on your new girl. Is the administration of this expected to be identical to the previous dollars? I mean, obviously this is another 2.8 million, but in terms of eligibility and in terms of how the money will be distributed, is it the same?
So as far as eligibility, we are to prioritize those who have been unemployed 90 days or longer. You cannot be, they changed the guideline to we follow low income household as defined by HUD, as opposed to what we had been using of an 80% of median income threshold below that. So we need to dig into that to see what that actual number looks like. But as far as administration, we plan to use the same nonprofit partners. This is not Clay County administering this program. We are using our nonprofit partners, and really that's the benefit of, by virtue of having over 200,000 residents, we can use this program. So if it didn't come to us, it would have gone to the state of Missouri. And so this way we can use Clay County nonprofits, and they can be the case managers working with these folks to distribute the assistance. So it will be the same as far as that administration. There is a change where they increase the administrative allocation from what had been 10% to 15%. We don't necessarily have to abide by that. We could keep it at 10%. And as you know, the MOUs we've already signed go through the end of 2021. This program is longer dated into 2022, and that's another reason why we need to have a fund to be able to look at the year-end cash picture as we budget it into future years if needed. So I hope that answers your question as far as the administration. It is essentially the same. One major difference is, so the eligibility was you have to have, a need for housing instability. You have to show, in 1.0, you had to show that you were in housing unstable, behind in rent or utilities because of the pandemic. 2.0 says during the pandemic, so that's a big change, as well as the income guidelines, like I mentioned. But really, we plan to use the same partners. They've been doing a good job, and we have good, from the county standpoint, we are doing essentially subrecipient monitoring, where we are just making sure they comply with the federal guidelines and making sure there's no duplication of benefits from any other assistance out there, making sure that these are residents outside of Kansas City, but in Clay County. There can't be overlap. So really the same protocol, just making sure we follow some of these different guidelines.
Wonderful. That's very helpful, and I appreciate it. One of the things we had discussed on the initial dollars, which we still have a good chunk of that left, right, of the under 1.0.
We do. So, like I said, it was 3.6 million. The 90% was 3.3 million that we budgeted, and we are at, I just ran that as of today. It changes every day, but we're up to $463,271.32 expended to residents, and so we're making progress. I think, one thing we could look at, and certainly, this is the option of the commission of how to use these funds. Treasury will take a snapshot of where we're at, and if need be, Treasury will determine to reallocate to places of higher need. So that is a reality. But one thing we could look at is what more ways could we look at advertising this besides what we
Right.
already
Yeah.
done?
I was gonna, because we're at like 15% is what it sounds like of the initial round. Which, if we could use some of these dollars to publicize the availability, because either landlords or the tenants can apply, right? If somebody's in arrears, right?
That's correct.
So it does, and I assume that there are a decent number of folks who would be eligible, who just may not know, about the program.
Well, that's
But,
true.
Yeah. Do we have the flexibility under the program, to your knowledge, to spend some of the dollars on publicizing the availability?
We have some administrative dollars left that we did not obligate to our partners, and we really haven't spent much of the administrative dollars at 10% at all. So we have some left for advertising. I know tomorrow there's another state coordinating call with those communities over 200,000, like Greene County, Jefferson, St. Louis, Jackson, that they're planning a statewide marketing effort. I know U.S. Treasury and HUD is planning a federal marketing effort in coordination with the American Rescue Plan Act. So we should get on that. There is 1.0 required that there be a landlord-facing application, as well as, yes, tenants have to apply, verify income. The landlord application is now available. It took them a while to generate it, and they want to make sure it's working fine, but it is available. And so our plan is to get that out to landlord associations, to have them apply on behalf of tenants. Tenants also have to apply, give their information too as part of that. So So certainly, I think we could get the effort out more. I know we've heard before, at the very beginning, the assessor offered that we could mail every apartment dweller in the county outside of Kansas City. The utilities have their own marketing efforts as far as, anyone who's behind on utilities. But I think we could certainly look at that. One step I wanted to do, and I could work with Administrator Salisbury on it, is just working with our partner cities. A lot of them have their own utilities or have their own housing agencies. And so I think they're fairly aware, but we could take that step as well to increase the word. So, yeah.
Good deal. And so, one of the things I had asked about was, and thank you for doing it, by the way, you sent an email updating us as to the geographic distribution. We had a pretty lengthy discussion about making sure these dollars get distributed in an equitable way across demographic and geographic lines. And I'm very grateful for you following up on that and doing that. So thank you, especially because obviously you've been very busy. One of the things I did notice, though, it was about 80%, as the Western Commissioner, I feel like I probably ought to call attention to it. About 80% of the dollars were Eastern District and about 20%. So, it's close to a 4-to-1 ratio in terms of where the dollars have been expended so far. And I don't know this for sure. My guess would be there are probably more folks who rent their homes and who might meet a low income threshold in the Western, frankly, than in the Eastern, although that's a guess on my part. So I do want to try and stay on top of that, and I'm not sure exactly what the solution is to try to going forward. And obviously, we're only at 15% of the dollars expended, so it can easily be remedied. But obviously, an 80-20 breakdown isn't probably where we ought to be geographically in the breakdown. And I don't know that there's any magic solution, so I don't mean to put you on the spot. But do you have any insights into what possibly we could do working with our nonprofit partners?
I mean, absolutely. And so when I sent that report, and it's a very fluid situation. I feel like we're getting more on that kind of hockey puck type chart, to be honest, the way the numbers are changing recently, because I ran that report, I think, earlier in May or even in April. And as of today, those numbers have changed quite a bit, actually. And so I should have sent that to you more recently. Maybe I should get more on a monthly schedule. I know I am posting these online so that the public is aware for transparency purposes, but that number has changed quite a bit. In fact, our 64118 zip code, which I believe is Western, is now the leader with the most applications served, and 119,000 of the 463. And then 64068, which is Liberty right here, is 118,000. Those are the top two. So it's changed quite a bit. We might still be slightly more Eastern when I just roughly calculate here, but definitely we need to have I agree, we need to keep an eye on that as we move forward. The process is generally not necessarily where the nonprofits are located, because we have nonprofits all throughout the county, Metro Lutheran Ministries, Kearney Enrichment Council, Salvation Army, Community Action Agency, and Northland Healthcare Access. And it's not where they're located unless they happen to have a walk-in or a call for a hand application. What happens is someone goes online, it's Clay County, mo.gov, transparency, ERAP, and they go through the Community Care Link online application. That application is received and distributed as they get it, wherever it's from in the county outside of Kansas City. So, but you're right, I think the advertising piece could help in that effort. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, thank you very much for answering those questions. I genuinely appreciate it. Thanks.
Sure.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you very much. By the way, we just a moment ago had the site the page that is on our website so that people can get on there, and there we are, right there. And it's got the URL, which if I could see better, I could actually recite, but I think that'll at least give us the general location, and there's a button there to sign up. So hopefully more citizens will become aware of that opportunity and be able to take advantage if they are indeed qualified. Commissioner Thompson, did you have any questions or comments?
Thank you, Commissioner. A lot of my comments and questions were actually covered by Commissioner Carpenter. So that's the good news of having like-minded people up here, so we get some of those taken care of. Has there been any hiccups or anything with the 1.0 program, anything that we need to learn from and move forward for the 2.0? Has there been any big obstacles or?
I'd say certainly. I think making sure we had all of our policies and procedures in place, which we did, because it's always a tug between you want to get the money out, but you want to do it correctly. And I think we're kind of ahead of the game from what I understand is our conversations with MHDC, the state entity that does it for those communities under 200,000 as far as our reporting capability. At least from the compliance side, I made the first quarter report to U.S. Treasury, and they had an initial due date for the monthly, and I said, where do I go to report this? And they said, oh, we need to push this back 2 weeks, we're not ready. So, like literally right after my emails. On the compliance side, but on the actual program side, I think, we wanted to make sure we had good communication from our application provider as far as a confirmation that your application is being reviewed, because some of these people literally come apply and they say, I'm going to be evicted tomorrow, help me. Or my utilities are going to be shut off tomorrow, help me. So what do you do with that? Definitely calculating the income correctly, because you have monthly, you have annual, your 2020 taxable versus your monthly. So making sure so I think we've worked through a lot of those and we're in a lot better, functionality now, for sure. And just making sure no duplication. And that's something I do with the subrecipient monitoring process is I check MHDC's database, make sure we're not duplicating the state. Community Care Link is making sure, because they serve Kansas City as well, we're not duplicating with Kansas City residents who live in Clay County. So, really just that. I think we're off and running now more than we were initially.
I think a lot of good thoughts have been expressed here, and I think we're all really grateful for the job that you've done. And I think we would be remiss not to also express our gratitude towards not only yourself, but your staff, to our administrator, Tom Salisbury, who has been working with the group. Certainly Bob Nance, the treasurer, has been involved in this effort. So we have a good team that's been assembled. And obviously our partners with the United Way, which have been very easy to work with and very good people. I would also add that anecdotally, I've talked to some landlords. They're very happy with the way this is going. It's really helping people who would have a great deal of difficulty digging themselves out of the bind that they find themselves into, many times through no fault of their own. In fact, through no fault of their own, but because of the pandemic that we have. The other understanding I have is that as far as other efforts throughout the state, Clay County seems to be doing as well or better than most. So I think that it's good to see Clay County working in such a constructive way, and I think earning kudos from a number of people. So certainly we want to extend our gratitude to the hard work of all involved to make this happen, and certainly we look forward to seeing even more success come out of this program. Is there any other comment? In that case, is there a motion related to 2021-120?
I move that we approve 2021-120.
Motion has been made for the approval of 2021-120. Is there any comment from anyone from the public? Seeing none, Commissioner Thompson, did you have any comments or questions you'd like to pose?
No, thank you.
In that case, Commissioner Carpenter, you're free to make any comment and close.
Thank you. I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes?
2021-120 has been approved. That brings us to 2021-121. Mr. Administrator.
Commissioners, a similar request to approve the acceptance of grant awards under the American Rescue Plan Act. And again, I will defer to the auditor for further comment.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Victor Hurlbert, Clay County Auditor. So Resolution 2021-121 is similar to 120, but this is for the larger component, the state and local recovery fund component of the American Rescue Plan Act. On Monday, U.S. Treasury made notice that they will be sending out payments soon to every state and locality over 50,000 residents, and for those under, called non-entitlement units, those are smaller cities, villages, they get their funds from the state of Missouri. So similar reason, because we hadn't budgeted this fund, I come to the commission to create a fund. I'll create all the sub-accounts in our ledger as necessary, and the plan would be to, once we come together, commission, administrator, formulate a plan of how we want to use these dollars, we could develop a budget and go forward. This is a lot of money, for certain. We're estimated at 48 million, but it comes in two tranches, the first tranche being 24 million, second tranche a year later to be that amount. And as I outlined, for general uses, to respond to the public health emergency and its negative economic impacts, premium paid to essential workers, lost revenue due to COVID, and investments in water, sewer, and broadband infrastructure. There's quite a bit of lengthy guidance on the U.S. Treasury's website that is the standardized same page for everyone to follow, that we really need to dig into and make sure we follow everything before we use these funds. But this first step is to create the fund so that with this amount of money, interest is very important, and what that interest can generate and how long it is. This act goes out to the end of 2024, and if you incur projects, it can even go out to the end of 26, from what I have read so far. So that's essentially all I'm asking for tonight, however, is to create a fund so that we can start accounting for it.
Thank you. One of the things that has certainly been a feature of this particular is that the guidelines, the specific guidelines, are just now getting to us, if I understand correctly. I think I'd spoken to one of my counterparts over in Platte County. They'd also just gotten some of the information, and you also. So with the deadline of 2024, we have a little bit more time to really make sure that we are understanding the guidelines and do our homework and really make sure that we are in compliance so we don't end up having some issue down the road. Once again, a very similar team has been formed with how we might go forward with this, which I appreciate, and certainly the commission would look forward to information and recommendations as we go forward, but certainly to get the upfront work done so that we can be presented with as many facts as possible is appreciated. And once again, the hard work from those I just named a few moments ago is greatly appreciated by the commission. Commissioner Thompson, did you have any questions on this issue?
I don't, thank you.
Commissioner Carpenter.
Thanks. Yeah. So first of all, of course, it makes sense to create a new fund for it. So I look forward to moving this forward tonight as step one. I do appreciate you looking into some of the guidance from Treasury. I briefly looked at it as well. One of the things that I was disappointed to learn was that we're going to be prohibited from using these funds in any kind of reserve or emergency fund usage. I think past commissions preceding this one have perhaps not put as many dollars into those funds as I would prefer, and so I was hoping we might be able to do that. That being said, I only did a cursory look over some of the rules, and obviously what you have here is a sort of a brief outline, which I appreciate very much. But I do look forward, as we move forward, to trying to get as specific as we can, so that we understand exactly what the parameters are and how creative we can get with these funds. And so just grateful to you for getting the ball rolling on it. Thanks.
And I must say I share the disappointment Commissioner Carpenter's expressed. I too was hoping that we might be able to use that. The reserves that we were left with after the last few years has been disappointing, and the ability to be able to replenish those funds, I think would have been extremely helpful. The lack of funds there does compromise our ability to do some of the things that we as government need to do to serve our people. So, yes, that was disappointing, but as we dig deeper, perhaps we will be able to find some more options that would benefit the folks in Clay County. With that, are there any? Is there a motion related to 2021-121?
I'll make the motion to approve 2021-121.
Motion has been made for the approval of 2021-121. Discussion. Is there anyone from the public who would like to comment? Seeing none, Commissioner Carpenter, do you have any comments or questions you'd like to pose?
Thank you. No.
Commissioner Thompson, you are free to make any comments and close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
2021-121 has been approved. That brings us to the next item, amended 2021-67. Mr. Administrator.
Commissioners, the amended Resolution 2021-67 is to establish the Clay County Bicentennial Commission.
Okay. And this has been amended? Yes.
There are two amendments, or there are two changes in this, changing the name of the committee to commission, and then further in the body of the resolution, changing the number of members from 9 to 11.
Very well. With that said, are there any, Commissioner Thompson, do you have any questions or anything you'd like to express on this issue?
No, I'm just glad we're able to move forward with this, and I feel comfortable with the changes that are being made.
Commissioner Carpenter, do you have any thoughts or questions that you have on 2021-67?
Oh, just on the change from committee to commission, is this, I guess I'm curious what the purpose is, and then additionally, it doesn't seem like in the actual language, unless I'm looking at it wrong, it changes it at the top in the title, but not in the actual language of the resolution. So it still says committee in the resolution itself. But it may not matter much, I'm not sure.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry.
I just want to point out to those who might be looking at this either online or on the screen, the way we indicate when changes are made, and in this case to 2021-67, that language which appears in brackets, for instance, in the title, the word committee is in brackets, that is language to be deleted. The lettering which is in bold in the case of the headline commission is language to be added. So just to let everybody know, that is the method by which we distinguish those changes. So when they come forward, everybody understands what is being changed from one thing to another. That way it's very apparent. You don't have to do any research. And we will be expanding the membership to 11, which I think is great. It's going to be a really wonderful process, and so certainly 11 people will certainly have they will be very busy, and we're certainly happy that people have stepped forward to do this to the extent that we needed to expand the commission. So that is very much appreciated, that there's a enthusiasm for our bicentennial. Is there a motion on amended?
Commissioner, I apologize, but
Yes.
if I could, I'm still curious in terms of, so in the actual language of the resolution, we're still calling it a committee. Again, I don't know that it matters much whether it's called a commission or a committee, but I'm just looking for.
Oh, I'm
clarity.
sorry, in the language of the body.
In the body, I count 4 times the word committee is used. I think we should say commission, since we're now changing it to commission. So I would respectfully suggest that maybe an amendment be made to change those 4 times that the word committee is used, to change it to commission would probably be the simplest way to change that.
So first thing we need to do is go ahead, excuse me, get a motion on the floor for amended 2021-67, and then to entertain a motion to amend, making the change Commissioner Carpenter's outlined. So that we can begin the process, is there a motion related to the amended 2021-67?
I move that we approve 2021-67.
Motion's been made to approve amended 2021-67. I will entertain obviously comments, but also I will entertain a motion to alter the language to reflect the change from committee to commission. Is there a motion for such an amendment?
Certainly, I'll make I'd like to offer the amendment to change committee to commission in each of the 4 instances.
Motion has been made to amended 2021-67 to change the instances where it says committee to commission. Discussion, Commissioner Thompson?
No, thank you.
Commissioner Carpenter, you are free to close, and we will move on to the underlying bill.
Thank you. I close.
Please call the roll on the amendment to 2021-67.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes?
The amendment has been adopted. This is going to sound a little confusing. That brings us to amended 2021-67 as amended.
As amended, yep.
That is now the issue on the table. Are there any further changes that would be put forward? Further discussion? Commissioner Thompson?
No, thank you, Commissioner.
Is there any comment from anyone in the audience? I see none from the public. Commissioner Carpenter, you are free to close and make any comments you wish.
Thank you, Commissioner. I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes?
The issue does pass. That brings us to Resolution 2021-118. Mr. Administrator?
Commissioners, 2021-118 is to appoint the members to the recently approved Bicentennial Commission.
Thank you very much. As the presiding commissioner's job on these occasions is to, in fact, make nominations for these boards and commissions, I would like to move that we approve 2021-118, given the passage of amended 2021-67 as amended. I would also like to make part of that motion the addition of Jane Putnam and Jane Wiegand, sorry. That would be added to the names Charlie Broomfield, Holly Gurley, Bob Martin, Tony Reinhardt, Dr. Cecilia Robinson, Julie Sola, Jerry Spencer, Katie Steele Danner, and Terry Welk. I think we've got a really great group here tonight. I think we've got a bunch of people who are very competent from a lot of different areas of the county, a lot of different areas of expertise. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing them get together and produce some really great events, and certainly to appropriately commemorate the bicentennial of Clay County. Certainly these nominations were made with the consultation of the administrator as per our Constitution, and with the inclusion of the thoughts of those other commission members, so that we could come to a truly consensus opinion on the members of this commission. With that, I will open it up for discussion. Commissioner Thompson, do you have anything that you would like to add?
Well, I think this is going to be a really great board, and I was second basically all your comments there. You think there was got a nice, well-rounded group here, and I think there's a lot of good stuff coming up, so I'll leave it with that.
Commissioner Carpenter, do you have anything you'd like to
No, thank you. I look forward to the work of the commission. I think we're looking for an update on the sheet, right? Because we don't have the other 2 names listed on this one.
add? Yes, there are, my understanding is staff has prepared an alternate sheet that will have both of the new names included for our signatures. So
Fantastic.
they certainly anticipated any event in that, which, of course, thank you to the staff for
Absolutely.
thinking on their feet and being ready in any event. I have this committee will convene at whatever point the decision is made. Katie Steele Danner has agreed to at least be the chair for the initial meeting, and then from there would be a selection of officers and a determination of how the group will go forward from there. certainly we want to make sure that we here at the county are able to do all we can to cooperate, facilitate as far as allowing space, certainly using our staff to make sure that we are able to assist in any way possible. Mr. Counselor, did you have something you'd like to add?
I actually do. Your comments made me remember something. To the members of the commission, please know that you are going to be a public body at this point. So when you meet, it needs to be noticed up, and I would encourage you to work with the clerk's office for notices. Essentially, you're not allowed to meet without making it a public notice. You're not allowed, a majority of you, so 6 of you, could not have a conversation about the work that you're doing unless it was publicly noticed. I'm free to be, I'm available to be a resource as well, but certainly please make sure that your meetings are publicly noticed and that you keep minutes. You have a secretary who will take down votes and all that type of thing.
Something else, and perhaps after our meeting, this is our last, this is the end of our regular agenda. Perhaps Katie could come up and get contact information from both counselor and staff so that you're able to readily access those resources and be able to be underway as soon as practical. With that also, we will be doing once we have adjourned, we will do a small swearing-in ceremony. We'll get some photographs with the group. We have our banner up there that we'll stand in front of, and certainly I think each and every one of you deserves our congratulations and our gratitude for stepping forward and taking this task on. And one of the things that we're trying to do now is when we have these kinds of committee assignments and board assignments and commission assignments is to bring in the individuals. This is an attempt, among other things, to create a tighter bond between we, the county commission, and the advisory boards and commissions that are kind enough to work with us. So certainly we want to make sure that you all feel very much like you're part of this group, and we definitely want to cooperate and make sure that you have everything you need to be successful. With that, is there any further comment? Is there any comment from anyone in the public? Seeing none, since that was my motion, I would close. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes?
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
2021-118 has been adopted. Excuse me, that concludes the regular agenda for tonight's meeting. Next on the agenda are comments on non-agenda items. These would be comments from any issues not covered under this evening's agenda. The first subset under A would be public comments. Is there anyone here from the public who would like to comment on any non-agenda items? Yes. Please go up to the podium. I see the green light is on, so just identify yourself and please proceed.
Kerry Welk, longtime Clay County resident. I'd just like to say thank you. It's been over a year since I've been at a county meeting, and it was professional. It was civil. I understand our counselor has taken at least an 80% pay cut.
I'll be passing the hat later.
I am just thrilled to see things back to the way you can have faith in your local government. I just wanted to say thank you. I enjoyed it immensely.
That is very kind. I think I can speak for the commission when we certainly express our appreciation for your kind words. And I would just save any further comment for commissioner comments. Anyone else from the public care to comment on any non-agenda items? Seeing none. Are there any office holders who would like to comment on any non-agenda items? Seeing none. Are there any agencies who would like to comment on any non-agenda items? Once again, I see none. That brings us to number 13, County Administrator comments. Mr. Administrator, would you care to make any comments this evening?
Only this. I get 50% of whatever the counselor is able to collect. I take it back. You get 55, I'll take 45.
You're a swell guy.
That's all.
Very well. Number 14 is Commissioner comments. Commissioner Thompson, do you have any comments that you'd like to make this evening?
I don't. Thank you, though.
Commissioner Carpenter, do you have any comments that you would care to make?
Well, I just want to say thanks to the folks who are going to serve on the commission. Obviously, it's a great opportunity for the county, and you guys are volunteering your time, and I'm grateful to you for doing it. Thank you.
I would like to just make a couple of points. One is, Mr. Welk, thank you for your comments. I would say that there's no small amount of credit due to the associate commissioners. That's made a world of difference. They have taken the duties on of this office very well and with grace and professionalism. Certainly, we appreciate the work of our county administrator. I would like to think that what you're seeing is a concerted and team effort on the part of all involved. Certainly, county councilor is no small part of that as well. When you write that down, it doesn't mean I'm going to give you any money. I thought you might be getting paid by the word. I wasn't sure. But I do want to express the gratitude for that. And we really are. I mean, that is why this is so appropriate with our Bicentennial Commission. This is truly a new chapter in Clay County. As I've said before, a new commission, a new constitution, and now a new century that we're going to be embarking on. And while this obviously has significance in and of itself, being a bicentennial, when you set this in the context of what is going on here at the county, and that this is such a turning of the page, such a new chapter, it gives even greater significance to the work that you will be doing as we go forward, and certainly our appreciation and good wishes go with you. With that, we will go to approval of the minutes. We have one set for April 28, 2021, 6 p.m. meeting. Is there a motion for approval of the minutes?
Make a motion to approve the April 28th, 2021, 6 p.m. meeting minutes.
Motion has been made for the approval of the minutes of April 28, 2021, 6 p.m. Discussion. Commissioner Carter? I'm sorry. Carter is our guy who is watching over us here electronically. Commissioner Carpenter.
No comments. Thank you.
Commissioner Thompson, is your motion? You are free to make any further comments and close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Brings us to written reports. Do we have any written reports to be presented tonight to the commission?
Not this week, no, thank you.
Very well. We do not have any written reports. We do not have any executive sessions listed. Before we adjourn, as I said, I would invite the members of the county commission, or excuse me, the county bicentennial commission to stay afterwards. Certainly receive our congratulations, to be sworn in by our county clerk, and to just generally have kind of a nice little send-off on your duties. With that, we are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Picture now?
Pictures? Yep, there we go.